Hey guys, very good evening to all of you and welcome to the fourth session in the series of Innovation and Entrepreneurship. So friends, I have taken 3 sessions till now where we have discussed a lot of theory and I've discussed a lot of questions. Today we're going to have the fourth part, and today I'm going to give you a lot more theory and a lot more questions to you, and I think we have one more session after this the next Monday, and we're going to conclude this series. So that's basically what is in store for you. Let's go on and take a look at what are the pieces of theory that we're going to learn today. Okay, all right. Well, I'm going to continue with the theory that we've discussed in the previous session. I've explained to you the difference between market pull and technology push. Basically, what are these two? I've given a question in the previous session, and using the question, I explained the meaning of market pull and technology push. Market pull is when a particular product, or most importantly, innovation comes out because there is a demand amongst the population. So people want it. People are saying that yes, I want this kind of a thing, and based on that, there is an innovation coming across, or there is a service or a product which has been brought. Technology push is when there is no such demand per se, but you identified suddenly something that did not exist, and because of this existence now, a technology which was developed or which was invented by somebody somewhere in their lab, suddenly some business guy saw the idea saying that I can use this technology to do this thing, which people were not thinking of earlier. But now once I make it, people are extremely happy and they're like, wow, I want this. That is called as a technology push. So market pull versus technology push, basically this is the difference, right? So we already discussed this, we have seen an example also, but let's move on. Okay, today we're going to talk about a lot of theories. What I said, we're going to learn about something called as diffusion of innovation theory. In fact, a question has come from this in the last year or the last before year, and this is something which is which everybody should know when we are dealing with innovation. So today's session we are going to talk about the innovative ideas. How do these ideas start and how do they go into the structure of the organization or in general the society? So that's the theme of today's session. So we're going to talk about something called as diffusion of innovative theory. So what does this mean? The word diffusion talks about, now I don't know how many of you are from the science background. Diffusion has a particular meaning when it comes to science. Here the diffusion is the percolation, the way in which the information flows. Okay, so here it is diffusion of innovation, the theory on it. So what does it talk about? First of all, this was developed by a person called E.M. Rogers way back in 1962. Okay, what does this theory explain? It explains how over a period of time an idea or product gains momentum and spreads. Diffusion is nothing but spreading. Spreads through a scientific population or social system. The end result of this process is that people, as part of a system, societal system, adopt a new idea, behavior or product. So basically this diffusion of innovation, this theory that we're talking about, basically talks, what does it tell us? It tells us the way in which this idea goes from the starting initiation. Somebody should be getting that idea, or a small group of people will get that idea. From that point onwards, how does it percolate into the system till it becomes accepted across the board? So what is this life cycle of this idea, starting from that initiation by a single or a small group of people to becoming widely accepted by everyone around in the world? So that is what the theory of diffusion of innovation talks about. Okay, now to understand this diffusion of the theory of diffusion of innovation, we need to understand who are the people who are involved in this entire process. So remember, there are, all the people in the world, they are 100%, right? Now these are categorized. The people here are categorized into 5 categories. Okay, these category names, they go by innovators, early adapters, early majority, late majority, and finally we have somebody called as laggards. Finally, we have somebody called as laggard. So when you're talking about the audience for any technology, they can be classified into 5 categories, right? These categories are innovators, early adapters, early majority, late majority, and laggard. So let's try to understand what is the meaning of each of these category people. First are innovators. Who are these innovators? These are the guys who are first to adapt or adopt a technology. So somebody came up with something new. These are the kind of people who will be the first to jump at it and say, yes, I want to try. You know, they are the ones who are really happy to test it out. They usually they are young in age. They're young in age, like in the teens. Something new comes up, they are like, yes, let me try it out. In fact, they find it to be proud to try something new and tell their friends, hey, you didn't try this, I have tried it. They take pride in it. Okay, they are risk takers because they don't worry about the consequences of the technology not being good, because they're trying it out. They know it may or may not be good. I want to try it out. It does not mean that everything they try they're going to be happy about. They're going to be scathing about it. In fact, if something is just about average, they'll say there's no point trying it, it's a waste of your time. They are going to come out with heavy criticism. So they take risks, and they are the early set of people who adopt this technology. Of course, they will have to have access to money. Or if you don't have money, you cannot adopt new technology and just to try it, right? Obviously, let's say that a new technology, you want to try it and you have to pay money to it. How many of you would pay the money just to try if you don't have money? You would rather spend it on something else. So they have to have access to money, and typically they are from a high social class because they feel that they feel happy, proud in their social circle, where by being a person who brings new technology into that group. Remember, I'm not talking about people who invent the technology. I'm talking about a person who used a technology and bringing it to this group. In that group, he will be called or she will be looked upon as, oh, this guy always brings, or this lady always brings new tech. Oh wow, she's cool. They use the word cool, right? So they have a high social class, and by definition of all such things, they form a very, very tiny percentage. As you can see, of all the people that can use this technology, a new technology, these guys form just 2 to 3%, because not everybody is going to be that enthusiastic. So you'll have a very, very niche segment who are going to be called as innovators, right? So that's the idea. Next, the next set of people are called early adopters. So who are these early adopters? They are also like innovators, very similar to them, but slightly less risk taking. They are a bit more cautious. I would call myself as probably early adopter. I am not going to jump right at the beginning of a new technology. I don't have it's not about risk taking. I don't have time to explore so many things. But if somebody comes up with a new idea and they talk about, hey, look, these people are using it, it's useful, I have also used it, see it. So when an innovator tells me about it, I will listen to them and I will start using them. That or those kind of people are called early adopters. Okay, they are a bit more cautious like me, and they have similar traits. The mindset is similar as innovators. I want to use cool things, but for various reasons they don't. For example, in my particular case, the reason is I don't have time, energy to explore all the new things. But if somebody highly recommends it, so I have in my friend circle, I have innovators, people who try all the new things. And if they recommend, and some people I really believe that if this guy recommends or this lady recommends, I will try it. So they recommend something to me, I will definitely take it and use it. So I become an early adopter, and the idea will be introduced to me by the innovator, right? They become, and now because I don't test everything, I am looked as in my group of people, if I am using it and I talk about it, I become an opinion leader, because my friends know that I will only recommend something if I find it to be useful and I don't try everything. So look at the image that I have. I don't try everything that comes my way because firstly, I don't have the time. And because I don't have the time and the energy, If I am trying something and I'm recommending something that, hey, this is good, they will take me very seriously, right? So I become an opinion leader, and people like me are about 12 to 14% in the market. Again, not that high, but way higher than innovators. But these are called as early adopters. And next, when we move on, we have the next bulk phase called as the early majority. So who are these? So these are the third in line in the adoption life cycle. So remember, the idea was generated by one or few people. Then this idea was adopted by the innovators. Then it was adopted by the people who are like me, early adopters. Then it is adopted by early majority. So this is, we are slowly moving down the chain, and here the early majority form a significant chunk of people. So these are the third in that line, and once this group accepts a tech, it gets widely adopted by the rest. So basically this is where if this phase occurs, it means that your tech is done, your tech is accepted by the majority. And basically you can look at the percentages. There are about 35% of these people in the market. So innovators 2 to 3%, early adopters you have about 12 to 14%, and early majority about 35%. Look at the total. If this phase, your tech is reaching this phase, then you almost have 50%. So half the market is using, which means your technology is used by the market. So if 50% of the market is using your technology, it means you have arrived, your product is a success, and others will start jumping on and they'll start using, because by then it becomes very widely known knowledge, right? And then you have late majority. These are the usually skeptical of new tech, very late in adoption phase, and usually they need help in understanding. Typically the upper middle aged, so somebody in their late 40s, 50s, 60s. So people who are like, why should I take something new, mine is running anyway, I don't want to learn something new at this age, I would rather spend time with my grandkids, those kind of people. They are called late majority. They could be elderly or middle-aged depending upon exposure to tech. Sometimes middle-aged people can fall under early adopters also. Sometimes very old people can also be falling under early adopters, depending upon how exposed are they to technology from their childhood. So if somebody at the age of 60 right now but still has been using tech for the last 30-40 years, the person mindset is different. They would always be like, okay, let me try it out. But normally if you are talking about people who are not exposed to tech, even at the age of 40-42, they're like, why should I try something new, right? So these are those kind of people called late majority. This again is a significant chunk. So if you notice, 50% till stage 3, and stage 4 is another 35%, adding up to a total of 84-85%. And then finally you have the laggards. So who are these laggards? Laggards are the last in the line, as you can see. And these guys are literally forced to use the tech. Why are they forced to use the tech? Because of two major reasons. The tech has become so prevalent that the old technology stopped. People stopped servicing the old technology. For example, I don't use iPhone, by the way, I'm just using an example. So let's say I have been using iPhone, and iPhone 7 I've been using, or iPhone 6 I've been using. I don't want to buy a new iPhone. My iPhone is happily working. And I want to, I'm the late laggard. I like, why should I change? Let me continue. Then suddenly Apple comes and says, look, we will stop updating software for your iPhone 6. So basically they are catching me and throwing me into the new iPhone, saying that, look, please stop using iPhone 6. We will stop servicing your iPhone 6. No bugs will be solved if there are any bugs going forward. Nothing doing for your iPhone 6. Its time is over. The company itself is coming and telling me, boss Srinivas, please move to the next one. That is literally who are called as laggards. You have to just pick and push them and throw them somewhere else. They don't want to do it on their own. Such people are called as laggards, and they will be about 15-16% of the market. They hate change in technology. They are used to something, they keep doing the same thing. They don't want to learn something. There are always certain people. They will be about 15-16% of the market. So that totals up to your total 100%. Okay, just a moment, guys. Okay, so let's move on. Okay, so practice question for you. Diffusion is a concept that refers to a very simple answer. A, B, C, D. What is the correct answer? Very good. The correct answer is buyer of service. So diffusion is a concept that refers to, you're not talking about sellers, you're talking about people who will use the technology. So who are these? Buyers. Okay. Next. The mechanism that unlocks the doors of an adopter population for the propagation of an innovation is. What is this? So who are we talking about? Adopter population. So what is it that the mechanism that unlocks the door of an adopter population for the propagation of innovation? So in your life cycle, when the adopters, early adopters are going to use a technology, what could be the reason why they are adopting or using new technology? And yes, the correct answer for this happens to be technology substitution. So let's understand what is the meaning of this question. The question says, look, what is the prime reason why an early adopters use new technology? The reason, for example, if I take my example, I call myself as an early adopter. So if somebody says, hey Srinivas, this tech is existing, you've been doing this, try this one, this is better. So basically what I'm doing there is I'm changing my technology from old to something new. It's technology substitution, whereas innovators are different. Innovators don't talk about technology substitution. They basically are talking about trying something new. It's the newness quotient, newness effect. Okay, so there it is about trying to do something new. For them, it's not about technology substitution. Whereas when you're talking about the third set of people, early majority, there it is going to be bandwagon effect. Why? Because they have seen that people like me are using, so they will also want to fall in line. So it's a bandwagon effect. So each category has a particular, for example, if you look at the last one, laggards, what is the mechanism? Basically forceful migration. You are basically forcing them to go from here to there. That is the mechanism, right? So that is the kind of question this is about. They're asking the underlying logic why this segment of people adopt new technology. Okay, the next we are going to talk about is 5 stages in adoption process. So here till now we spoke about a new technology percolating into the society. Now we are going to talk about a new idea or again a new invention or a product. The idea of a product running within an organization. So when a new idea comes into an organization, and it can be by the logic, while I'm talking about organization, it can also be extended to customers. So when a new idea is brought to them, there is a sequence of things that will happen. If each sequence of things happen and people will then start using your product. So what are these sequence of things? So this is called as the adoption process. So somebody has to use your technology. So we are now going to talk about if somebody has to evaluate and use your technology, what is the process that goes in their mind? First step is knowledge. What is knowledge? They should know that you exist, your product exists. So it is basically information reaching them. Somebody has to tell me that this technology exists. Only then I will even think about it, right? So the first stage is a no-brainer. It's knowledge. Knowledge is not about the technology, what is used in that. It's basically its existence is knowledge for me. Oh, something is there to help me like this. Oh, wow, very nice. That is knowledge. Second is persuasion, attitude formation. So now what happens depending upon who I am interacting with. So let's say a new, I'm one of the customers, or I'm in a company and somebody wants their idea to be accepted by me. So first they talk to me about the idea. That is where the knowledge comes. Second is depending upon who I'm talking to or what exposure I've had, there is something called as attitude that is being formed in my mind. If 3 or 4 close friends of mine say that, hey, this is a good thing, it's good for your for our employees. I'm talking from the scenario of a company. So my close colleagues or friends, they talk about, hey, this idea is good, if utilized properly it will be good for the company, etc, etc. A lot of positive people are a lot of people are talking positively in my circle. Slowly my attitude forms on the positive side. Or the same people start talking negatively, my attitude starts forming negative. Okay, so this is basically called as the phase of persuasion. And somebody who's bringing this idea has to be very careful in controlling this step, because I am already setting my mind before I use the product. I'm already setting my mind before I use the product or accept the technology. So it's like saying that, okay, I want to see how this technology is. I am very positive about it. Well, that's one way in which the outcome will come out. I want to see what the product is as an obligation. I'm not really convinced about the product because anyway, my friends don't like, my colleagues don't like. So I'm already going with a negative mindset. In that case, the outcome of the implementation of this idea will be different. Okay. So the people who want their idea to be accepted by their customers. Now, who is a customer? Somebody who's paying money and buying my product, or my own company people who want to accept my idea. Customer is somebody who's taking my idea. It could be anybody. So when I am trying to get my idea to those people who are my customers, I have to control this phase of attitude formation. That is where your marketing for a larger populace comes into play. Also, this is where if it is a closed group as a company, I have to make sure that the right information goes to the right kind of people. They start talking positively. I have to do something inside the company so that people start talking positively about it. Okay. Then the third phase is called decision. What is the decision? The decision is to, let's go ahead and try it out, or implement it and try it out. So try it out, the yes or no. So basically what I'm saying is, okay, fine, let's see. That is basically a decision. And then once you decide, you're going to implement it. Implement this process or the idea. Okay. And finally, after the implementation stage, you have something called as a confirmation stage. Now, what is this confirmation? Implementation is already done. So what is this confirmation? This confirmation stage talks about, okay, initially what was the promise about this idea? What was it supposed to do? Okay, this. I have implemented it. Now I am confirming whether all these points that this idea was supposed to do, has it done? Did I find those changes? Did I find those advantages? What is my actual benefit compared to the promised benefit? That is what is called as confirmation. And typically, if the confirmation is positive, your product is a success with me. If the confirmation is negative, your product is a failure with me. Right? Thakur, this is not a recording class, my friend. I am here. I'm seeing your text. I'm talking about it. So definitely this is not a recording class. It will be recorded and will be uploaded anyway, but this is live. Yeah, but there's a small gap in your questions and my talking. There is about 10-15 seconds gap. Okay. Right. Moving on. A question now. Which step in the model of innovation adoption leads either an individual or a firm to form a favorable or an unfavorable attitudes towards an innovation? We already discussed this. Please give me an answer very quickly. What is the answer? Clearly, it is attitude formation, the second stage, right? Persuasion, it's attitude formation. That's the second stage. That is where a positive, it's not decision, it's positive or negative attitude is developing in my mind. Clear? Okay. Next thing we're going to talk about is the difference between a businessman and an entrepreneur. Frankly speaking, there are small differences. I mean, at the end of the day, you use the word interchangeably. A businessman is somebody who does a business. A startup is also a business at the end of the day. So you can technically use it interchangeably. However, if you get into the detail, actually there are certain small differences. Let's take a look at what are these differences. Normally, a businessman is a market player. He is working in the currently existing market. Typically working in the current existing market. Could be a market leader, could be a very big company, a small company, but in an existing market. Okay. Whereas an entrepreneur usually creates new market which didn't exist. Okay, the market did not exist. You are creating the new market like Swiggy and Zomato and so on and so forth. So the market did not exist. You created something new, right? These guys are, again, compared to you and me, they are high risk takers, but relative to the entrepreneurs, they are low risk takers. Whereas entrepreneurs are chasing a new dream. They want to have something completely new which is never tested, tried. Therefore, relatively, they are high risk takers. Please don't say businessmen are low risk takers. No, it is relative term. So you are a normal salaried employee. Compared to you, a businessman is a high risk taker. But compared to him, an entrepreneur is even higher risk taker. Got it? This is all relative comparison. Next, they usually follow traditional processes. So I am a businessman. I set up a big grocery store. At the end of the day, I'm doing business. But the process is the same. I buy and sell things. I get 1% margin, 0.5% margin, 25 basis points margin, and so on and so forth. So the idea, the structure, everything is in place. I'm just recreating the same thing again. Whereas an entrepreneur usually is somebody who comes out of the box thinking. So if I set up a new grocery store, I will not be called as an entrepreneur, I'll be called as a businessman. And who will be called as an entrepreneur? If an entrepreneur finds a new way to sell the same things that I am selling in a completely out of the box thinking way, completely out of the ordinary, out of the ordinary, not ordinary, something completely new, then they will be called as an entrepreneur. Now, the normal businessman's focus will be on profits and increasing enterprise value. Enterprise value means value of the business. Whereas an entrepreneur is focused on growth, people, and customer acquisitions. So an entrepreneur does not worry about profits. Their idea is to have an idea, scale it up, get more customers, growth, get more customers and more customers and more customers, delight them, make them happy so that they become your loyal customers. The profits usually are not their headache. They will become a headache later. So initially entrepreneurs are all focused on, usually they are all focused on growth. Then of course, because you are, as a businessman, you are in the existing market, there is high competition. As an entrepreneur, because you are creating a new market, there is not too much of competition. Okay, a question, again, this is question based on theory that we discussed earlier. So let us see how many of you remember this. We already discussed the theory of what is an entrepreneur, who is a venture capitalist, a hedge fund, what is a hedge fund, what is a mutual fund, what is a private equity. We've discussed all of this. It's just a question to see if you remember that or not. What is the answer? Who among the following is involved in making risky investments for equity capital with the hope of getting better returns? Equity capital means putting money in companies, individual companies, right? So it is not an entrepreneur. It is not a hedge fund manager. I told you, hedge funds usually don't go for investing in companies. It could be a mutual fund manager, definitely not a businessman, could be a venture capitalist. Both options seem to be correct because mutual funds also put money in companies. Venture capitalists also put money in companies. Now, let's look at the question correctly and try to identify, is it C or E? Who among the following is involved in making risky investments? Now, when you're using the word risky investments, relatively between these two, who will take higher risk? Mutual funds don't take that high amount of risk that a venture capitalist takes. A venture capitalist, by the nature of it, he will be putting money in a new idea, which is more riskier. Whereas a mutual fund manager puts money only in big listed companies, where the risk of problem is less. Therefore, the correct answer is E and not C. You need to understand how to eliminate options by looking at the question and looking at the language in the question, because there are certain questions which will be relative. Okay. Another question. Which of the following attitudes is generally not associated with an entrepreneur? This is a very easy question. We already saw the traits of an entrepreneur earlier. So give me an answer to this. Very, very obvious answer here. Out of the box thinking. You want out of the box thinking. It is associated. So we are searching for not associated. So not your answer. Desire to bring change. Entrepreneur wants to change something. So it is associated with an entrepreneur. So you don't want, you want things not associated. So this is gone. Produce a process improvement, that is also associated. So not your answer. Status quo in business. An entrepreneur does not want to do the same thing as earlier. That basically becomes your answer. Imitation of existing products with better features also becomes entrepreneurship. In fact, there is a name given to it, imitation entrepreneur or imitative entrepreneur. The person who imitates some idea and becomes better at it by making better features, better products than what already exists. It is also an entrepreneurship. There's a type of entrepreneurship. We have discussed the types of entrepreneurships. Okay, so let's move on. That's the answer. Next question. Which of the following is not associated with an intrapreneur? So first, who is an intrapreneur? This is not a typo. This is a word. Intrapreneur. So a bit of theory coming your way by the help of a question. So who is an entrepreneur? Now, entrepreneur is very similar to an entrepreneur. The only difference is intrapreneur belongs or is within a big company. Now, what does it mean? Let me give you an example. Google, one of the big brands that people love, has multiple small projects which are working. At one point in time, the Google Bard, or now the Gemini that you know, was a project. Google once wanted to come up with glasses. Google once wanted to come up with hot air balloons which will be giving free internet to everyone. So Google has these different projects. They want to try and see which project will work out. How do they do this? They don't say that, okay, fine, let me take this 20 people, let me take this 20 people here, let me put this 10 people here. No, that's not how it works. They identify people who have this entrepreneurial bent of mind. They encourage these people and say that, hey, good, you want to start something of your own? Don't worry. Start it under Google only. Do everything like a startup. We will fund you directly. You don't have to worry about funds. You will have to work on your idea. Everything is like an entrepreneur. The money will be given by me. I'm the company. I'm going to give you money, and there could be different mechanisms on how it works. Usually, because I'm giving you all the money, you will own a small percentage and I will own a larger percentage. Sometimes they will be paid high salaries and no percentage. All kinds of mechanisms exist here. But the whole idea of an intrapreneur is he is an entrepreneur, not completely cut out on his own. He is a part of a company and the company pays him money or her money to establish a small unit within the company and work as an entrepreneur. So, is an employee of a large organization. Which of the following is not associated with? Again, this is associated, so this is not your answer. So, an entrepreneur is an employee of a large organization. It is correct. Has been tasked with the job of innovating a new product. Yes, that is also correct. So, I encourage somebody to start a new product. I am giving him or her a task. Boss, you have an idea? Please go ahead. So, that is also correct. So, not your answer. Faces high risk and high rewards. And the fourth is has access to better resources than an entrepreneur. So, this, which of the following is not associated with an entrepreneur? Okay, here everything seems to be correct. Let me see. Oh, yeah. Faces high risk and high reward. Let's look at this. What is the high risk? So, here the risk is not that high and the rewards are also not that high. You are paid big salary, but compared to an entrepreneur starts something on their own and the company becomes big, they will become billionaires. Whereas you cannot be working for Google and then say, I'm going to become a billionaire. You will be paid good salary, but a salaried employee will never become a billionaire. Right? So typically what happens is your risk is less. Your reward is therefore also less. Why is the risk less? Because your salary is secured. If your idea fails, Google is there to help you. In my example, right? So C is not associated, therefore that is your answer. What about D? Has access to better resources than an entrepreneur? Yes, because an entrepreneur will have to start searching, fighting for money, fighting for people, fighting for technology. Whereas I am working in Google, I am running my own small unit. I don't have to worry about too many things. I have the entire resources and the power of Google behind me. Getting the idea? Therefore, D is associated, hence not your answer. It is C which is the answer because the risk is not that high. The reward is not that high compared to an entrepreneur. Okay. Now, the next thing we are going to talk about is what are the different ways in which a business can grow. Broadly, growth of business can happen in three types. The terms to be used are bootstrapping. You would have heard bootstrapping a lot. What is bootstrapping? Bootstrapping is very simple. You are having a company, right? You will run business for this year. You get some money. With that money, you grow for next year. You get some extra money. With that, you grow extra. With that, you get, you grow a little bit more. So incremental changes year on year. You're not suddenly getting tons and tons of money by, suddenly out of magic. You are basically saying that I have this year's revenue. In this, I made some profit. Yeah, that profit only I will use next year as extra money. So if I make that extra sales because I'll produce extra because I have this profit. With this profit, I can buy more, sell more, make extra profit. Again, buy more, sell more. This process is called bootstrapping. It's a very slow process. It will take time for things to reach a particular level. It doesn't happen overnight. Next is acquisition. What is an acquisition? So I want to grow my business. One of the ways in which I can do is I can see I have a lot of investors' money. And one of the things I can do is, well, I have this company doing the same thing that I am doing. And I can buy them out. If I buy them, all the revenues becomes mine. That person who made that company happily takes some money and he's exiting the business. Their entire customers become my customers. So today I was selling 100 things. Tomorrow I will sell 120, but he is selling some 100. So suddenly this 100 becomes 220. So you can see double the growth, but actually what happened? My own company without acquisition is going from 100 to 20. But because that person is selling some 80, 100, my total when I acquire that person becomes 220 and it looks as if I have grown by 100%. Then I buy another company, I'll again grow. So this is growth by acquisition. The third is strategic partnership, which is kind of in between. So let us say that I have business, very strong business in, I'm currently in Hyderabad, Telangana. Another company has very strong business in Andhra. I want to expand into Andhra and they want to expand into Telangana. Just an example. Now, it might not be competing business. For example, I am in the business of cars. He is in the business of two-wheelers. Which means we have strong networks dealers in Telangana. He has strong network dealers in Hyderabad, in Andhra Pradesh. We can collaborate and basically say that I will share my dealers and networks with you. You will share your dealers and networks with me. You are selling two-wheelers. I am selling four-wheelers. We are not competing against each other. So this is strategic partnership where now my dealer services will set up a new service station or a new showroom for two-wheelers. Whereas his people will do the same thing for four-wheelers. So suddenly I am able to expand into the entire state there. He will suddenly be able to expand into my entire state here. This is called strategic partnership. Typically, even there are cases where competition also done this. I have given an example where two non-competing entities are doing this. Strategic. So there should be some reason, some strategy behind why this collaboration is happening. That's another way of growing suddenly. Okay. Pavitra, Agri-Business Management and colleges, we have taken your request. Please, there is to this chat, there is a link which is pinned. Please go to that link and put your request. We will respond to your request, whatever it is. Please put it there. We will come back to you with facts, data instead of randomly talking suddenly. Clear? Okay guys, so that brings me to the end of the session. I hope you've got a lot of new things today. Today I made sure that the session has only 1 or 2 revisions, but mostly things are new. If you've enjoyed my session, please don't forget to hit on the like button. Please leave any comments if you want to see any changes. And if there are any requests, please go to the link that I'm talking about there, which is pinned there, and leave your request there. We will definitely respond to your request. And yes, please share this because we're going to come up with a lot more such sessions. Stay tuned into our channel because these are all free sessions happening on a regular basis for both MAHCD and CMAT also. Thank you, my friends. All the very best and have a wonderful evening.